ever eat an entire 20-piece nugget from McDonald's and then you get sick and everyone tells you like that was a bad idea? And you're like, oh, maybe I should have just had a 10-piece nugget? 10 of those nuggets are guilt, regret, and shame. And I feel like 20% of this movie will be Todd Phillips's 10-piece nugget. I feel like he's gonna say, should have just had the 10. I should have cut 20% of this movie. Get rid of those 10 nuggets next time, Todd Phillips. Even though you're brilliant. Welcome to this episode of 50-Second Film Feels, the sequel to the 2019 Joker. Who's here for it? Director Todd Phillips is taking a giant swing here by doing this style, and he knows it. And while I commend every filmmaker for trying to do something different and not the same old thing, I'm not sure if he's gonna have no regrets. I can't compare it to part one because it's not a remake, it's a sequel. What I will say is it definitely has the same tone. You have to be able to embrace the entire spectrum of everything that goes into filmmaking and be really passionate about the filmmaking process, especially with the production. It's very stylized. It's a choice. It's a real choice. For example, they shot it in different aspect ratios. So there's 54 minutes to be exact of IMAX. It's really beautifully shot. And if I can't emphasize that, it is really beautifully shot. It's a beautiful film visually. There's a lot of colors and textures. ASMR people are going to love this. What I mean by texture is there's one scene where Harley Quinn is putting makeup on Joker's face, and it's like you feel it and you see it and you hear it. So it's like everything coming together. Anything having to do with music is a big part of this film. Now let's talk about this music thing for a second. I'm here to set the record straight because there's been a lot of talk about, first of all, movies over the past year that have been basically accused of hiding the fact that they're musicals. I think Willy Wonka was the first one, and that was about a year ago, and then The Color Purple, and then all these remakes, and then Mean Girls. So there were all these movies coming out that were like being hidden as being musicals, and people were kind of accusing them of like doing it on purpose because like a lot of people aren't into musicals and they don't want to see that. We all knew there was a lot of music coming with this. Lady Gaga is in it for a reason. She's not just going to be there and not be utilized for her voice and her musical skills. Like, come on, give me a break. So here's the thing. It took about 40 minutes for there to even be a musical number. As far as it being a musical overall, the musical aspect of movies moves the story along through song and dance with the dialogue. For example, Sweeney Todd, they're telling the whole story through their songs. That's not the case here. It's just not. It's simply not. There's regular dialogue, good dialogue, interesting dialogue. The scenes that they do have that are musical numbers is more having to do with the psyche and what's in his head. And it's not like we're guessing if it's real or not. It's like, this is just what he's imagining. Do you see what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Okay. You, the one person who's still watching, do you see what I mean? If you saw my sketch comedy that I did to my Joker tribute, you'll know a little bit about it without knowing the references. But you can't really compare the Jokers because they're all different versions of the character. I don't really like when people are like, oh, well, this one was the best. I'm like, well, it's a different version of that character. I happen to absolutely love Arthur Fleck in these Jokers. Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is amazing. His performance in this one, I mean, he's got an award for this already. Like, come on. We're not saying anything about the performances. Everybody in this movie performed really, really well. The chemistry between the two of them was great, but I really feel like it could have been expanded a little bit more upon. It felt a little bit rushed, them just getting into their relationship. I just have to say, overall, there was something about it that just didn't have a giant impact for me.